Hi there, and welcome to Studio SN, your place for card making, rubber stamping, and paper crafting tutorials. My name is Sara Naumann, and I'm so very glad you're here. Today I want to show you a fun and easy layered card focal using stamps and embossing powder from Hero Arts. You can see on my butterfly motif that I've got a couple of different layers going on, including some embossing right here in the center. It's a really easy process to do, so I'm going to show you the supplies I'm working with, and then we'll get into the technique. So the stamps that I'm using from Hero Arts are part of their color layering series, and you can see here that you've got 3 different layers to this butterfly. So you've got the silhouette, you've got the middle layer, and you have the detail or the outline layer. Now in this stamp set, you've also got some sentiments and a couple of little accent pieces here too. For the layering process, you'll just flip this over and you can see you'll stamp your base layer in one color, the middle layer directly on top using a second color, and then the detail layer on top of that with a third contrasting color, and you'll end up with a beautiful monarch butterfly. Now, one thing to keep in mind, of course, you don't have to use all 3 of the layers, and in fact, we're just going to be using 2 of them today. So the stamps are here. I'm also going to show you the embossing powder, and this is the Sand Embossing Powder. When I take the lid off, you'll see this looks really cool. You've got a couple of different textures and some colors in here. It's going to give you a really beautiful variegated effect. And it's perfect for our butterfly, but I think it would also be ideal for some beach-themed scrapbook pages or cards. The inks that I'm using from Hero are the black and the tangerine. So I've got all of these supplies ready to go. I'm going to set them off to the side, and I'm going to bring in my Misty. And you can see here that I've already stamped the butterfly outline with some black ink right onto some smooth white cardstock. I can leave everything in place on my Misty and add my second layer. And the second layer I'm going to use is this middle layer here. So I'm only using these 2 today. So I'm just going to pull this off and simply pop it down on top of my already stamped design. Now you'll notice my stamp is a little bit orange already. I just need to give it a good clean when I'm done with the video, so it's not going to hurt anything, but it has been used quite a lot already. So I've got this ready to go. All I need to do is close up my Misty, and this will cling onto the opposite side. Now if you don't have a Misty, you can also use a clear acrylic block for this technique as well. I just find that I'm counting on my Misty so much these days. For ink, I'm using the tangerine. A couple of other things I'm going to have on hand: a water mister, and I'm also going to have my embossing powder ready to go. So I'm going to take the lid off of that, have that ready, and I need to have a folded piece of scrap paper. That's going to be to catch my excess embossing powder. So what I'll do now is simply ink up my butterfly with the tangerine, and I'm going to mist this. I'm going to give it 2 quick spritzes. I want that ink to be fluid, but I don't want to flood this, because then when I come over to stamp on top, it's going to give me a really beautiful and soft sort of watercolor effect. Now while this is still wet, I'm going to be working pretty quickly, so I'm just going to move my Misty out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my scrap piece of paper here and my embossing powder. And I'm just using my fingers to apply the embossing powder on here because I don't want to cover the entire butterfly. I don't want to cover the whole thing. This embossing powder is opaque, so of course it would obliterate the design if I just dumped all of the embossing powder on top. And this allows me to be a little bit more precise in where I'm applying that embossing powder. And I can also choose which of those chunky or fine granules I want to use. So I've got this on here. I'm just going to tap off the excess, and then I can funnel this, all of those granules, right back into the jar, save every bit. Make sure to put the cap on this, and then I'm just going to heat set this. Now my embossing powder is all melted, and I just love how this adds a little bit of texture and shine to my butterfly. Just so pretty. Now I want to add even more texture on here, so I'm just going to grab that black ink pad and pop this down onto my craft sheet. Get a little bit of water here, and also using my water brush, I'm going to make a watery mix of this. And simply hold my water brush perpendicular to my paper and tap this to create a really nice fine spattering effect on here. And it just adds another layer of texture and dimension to the card. Okay, I'm going to mop up my excess ink here, and we can take a look at the card itself. So as you can see, I've simply mounted this up onto some coordinating cardstock. I've added one of the sentiments from the stamp set and a little bit of baker's twine. And the rest of the card can be just so clean and simple. And I really love how it creates a nice special focal element, but keeps the rest of the card nice and clean. So this is how you can use your layered stamps to create a slightly different look, including some embossing in there too. Thank you so much for joining me today on Studio SN. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe to Studio SN on YouTube, and I'll keep you updated on the very latest stamping and card making videos. In the meantime, please feel free to learn more about paper crafting techniques on my website at saranaumann.com. Thanks again, and I will see you next week.